So you can just make your way into child's pose. So take up loads of space this evening, take your knees wide, big toes to touch, and just feel out the sit bones on your heels and try to keep them connected. Just start to spider walk your fingers to the top of your mat. Try to keep the tailbone on the ground, on the heels. And if you can, place the forehead onto the mat. And if you can't place the forehead onto the mat, just take your cushion and place it below your head so that your forehead is completely grounded. And start to draw your awareness into your breath. You can rock your forehead from side to side, massaging the third eye. And just really actively roll the shoulders away from your ears. See if you can make your breath audible. So on your exhale, incorporating your Ujjayi breath, so constricting the back of your throat and really taking deep conscious inhales and deep conscious exhales. Feel out the fingers and make sure all of your fingertips and the palms of the hands are firmly rooted into the ground. Relax your face, removing all tension out of your body. And see if you can imagine every single vertebra elongating from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. Drawing your awareness to the tip of the nose. Start to take your awareness inwards. Take 2 more breaths in your own time. Really using this pose to help ground your energy after a busy day, just to focus on the present moment. And on your next inhale, start to stretch your fingertips even further forward while still drawing your shoulders away from your ears. And press your buttocks down towards your heels, so really arching and stretching out the spine. Inhale here, and on your next exhale, fingertips move over towards the right-hand side. So stretching out the left side body. Make sure that left sit bone is firmly rooted down onto the left heel. On your next inhale, move through center and over to the other side. Actively pushing down that left sit bone. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Relax your jaw. And on your next inhale, come back to center. Bring your knees in slightly, tuck your toes under, and start to walk your fingertips forward. So lift your sit bones above your knees, so there's a long line above your knees and start to walk your fingertips forward into your puppy's pose. So this is a really strong heart opener. And just make sure you take it at your own pace. So start to stretch the sternum down towards the mat, keeping on the fingertips, keeping a nice sort of arch in the palms of the hands, and start to stretch the breastbone down whilst lifting your chin. If that's too strong, just take your forehead down to the mat. Really nice opening of the hip line, opening the shoulder blades. Stay for 2 more breaths. And on your exhale, release both elbows down to the mat and roll your body forward. And just into your gentle Sphinx pose, so untuck the toes, top of the feet firmly rooted onto the ground. And just make sure that your elbows are directly below your shoulders, and just lift your chin. So for a gentle opening of the front line of the body, broaden your collarbones. Really try to draw your tailbone down. So just activating your core here, start to suck your navel in towards your spine. And exhale, release. Take your hands down and take them behind your sacrum and interlace the fingers. So keeping the tops of your feet down, really actively push the tops of the feet down into the ground. And now start to see if you can draw the shoulder blades in towards one another. And now see if you can start to lift the hands away from your lower back. And by doing that, you start to lift the collarbones and the front part of your chest off the mat. See if you can lift your chin, but up to the ceiling. Keep breathing, drawing your navel in towards your spine, actively curling your tailbone down. Really reaching your knuckles further away from your sacrum. Opening up the collarbones. And exhale, release. Take your arms forward and start to lift them off the mat. So making your arms active, already starting to feel this activation in the back line of the spine. And keeping your hands lifted, see if your head can also be lifted and your shoulders lifted off the mat. Stay here. If this is really strong for you, this is also just a nice sort of safe back activation. If you'd like to, you can lift your toes off the mat, making sure your legs and thighs are nice and active. You can start to kick the hands and the feet, so like you're doing a bit of a doggy paddle in water. Really activating the back here. Activating your core, so making sure it's turned on. Stay here for 2 more breaths, just wiggling out the back, opening up the back line. And on your exhale, release. Bring your hands underneath your shoulder blades and just curl back into your child's pose, keeping your toes curled under. Stay here for 2 breaths. Just really curling out and rounding the spine, and drawing your shoulders away from your ears. And on your next inhale, moving into your downward facing dog, keeping your hands in the same position, toes curled under, and lift your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Bending one knee, bending the other. Really try to exaggerate this movement. And just wiggling out the buttocks, so moving into the spine. Make sure your hands are shoulder width apart and the index and the thumb are firmly rooted into the ground and activating through your shoulders, broaden the back line of the body. And on your next inhale, start to walk your feet to the top of your hands. And take your feet hip width apart, interlace the hands behind the back. Now doing the same action that we did lying on the mat. And take your hands and see if you can do the opposite interlace of what you did earlier. So it's normally your non-habitual grip. Just feeling out this opening of the back line of the legs. If you need to and you're taking a strain, just bend your knees a lot in this position. And see if you can actively push the wrists away, so towards the front of your mat. Stay for 2 more breaths, really starting to open up the hip line, stretching out the shoulders if you've been sitting at a laptop all day. And if you'd like to, you can take the wrists further apart so you open up the clasp of the hands and just feeling out a little bit of a stretch and opening into the wrists. Relax your shoulders away from your ears if you can. Make sure your toes aren't clawing into the mat, so all 4 corners of the balls of your soles of your feet are firmly rooted into the ground. Stay for 1 more inhale, and on your exhale, release your hands. Take your hands to the back of your legs and just start to massage. If you'd like to, you can just start patting or using your fists just to activate into the lymph, drawing some blood flow into the legs if you've been sitting for most of the day. Keep going, rubbing, patting, giving yourself some love. And on your next exhale, release. And just feel that out in your forward fold, bending your knees if you need to. Just shake your head from side to side. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Nod your head yes, shake your head no. And on your next inhale, bend your knees a lot and start to roll all the way up to standing. And on your next inhale, take your hands up towards the ceiling. Bring your big toes to touch, heels slightly apart. Stretch your hands up, cross at the thumbs, and make sure your hands are in a prayer position like that. And stretching your arms up towards the ceiling. And on your exhale, stretch up and over towards the right-hand side. Relaxing both shoulders away from your ears. Tuck your tailbone slightly. Lift your chin if you can. So taking your gaze forward. And on your next inhale, come back to center and stretching over to the other side. Making sure that left shoulder is rolling forward and the right rolling back. Your right hip rolling forward, your left hip rolling back. Making sure both feet are firmly rooted into the ground. Stay for 1 more inhale and exhale. And on your next inhale, come back up to center. Bend your knees, bird bring your elbows out towards the side for a gentle back bend. Inhale, lift your hands up to the sky, and exhale, hands through heart space, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shin or the mat, and exhale, step back into your plank pose. So hands directly below your shoulders, tuck your tailbone. If you need to, come down onto your knees. And stay here, starting to activate your core, feeling of the strength in your body. Broaden the collarbones on the front line of your neck. See if you can curl the tailbone down. Even if you think it's curled down, curl it even more. Nice long line from the crown of the head all the way to the heels. On your next inhale, rock forward. Come onto your knees if you need to. Move into your chaturanga, bending at your elbows. Coming all the way down onto the mat for your cobra, or lifting up into your upward facing dog, bending at the elbows. And exhale, release through child's pose, or straight back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up towards the sky. Open up your hip towards the right hand side, bending your right knee a lot. And drawing circles with the knee in the sky. Making sure that right foot is nice and flexed. Changing direction of the knee. Inhale, lift the leg up towards the sky. Exhale, round the spine, knee to nose. Exhale, kick the leg back. Inhale to stretch the leg, and exhale, bring the knee to nose, hover it for a moment. Inhale, kick the leg back. Last one, exhale, knee to nose, hold it for a moment. Step the hands, the foot between the hands, staying up for a moment, just massaging out the back leg. So rolling forward and rolling back, lifting that knee off the ground for now. And just moving that front foot out to a 45-degree angle, come down onto the back knee, moving into your runner's lunge. So you can stay upright like this if this is enough for you at the moment. Or you can take your elbows down to the ground and feel this out. You can take your hand to the inner thigh and push it out if you like. If you want an extra quad stretch, lift the back foot off the ground and try to grab hold of the foot if you can. Really start to actively lower that left hip down towards the mat. You can also lift the back leg off the ground, so lifting that back knee off and rolling, rocking forward and back. Just feeling out whatever you feel like your body is craving. And on your next exhale, drop the knee if it was lifted. And just wiggle the front foot to the midline of your mat so that your knee is directly above your front ankle. On your next inhale, lift up into your low lunge. Taking your arms up towards the ceiling, drop your shoulders away from your ears and really actively roll that left hip towards the front line of your mat. Now interlace the fingers, releasing the index fingers, stretch and point those fingers up towards the ceiling. And inhale to stretch up out of the waist, and exhale, lift your hands up and over towards the right hand side. Getting a nice opening of the psoas muscle. And on your next inhale, come back up. Drop your hands down to frame the front foot. Lift your back knee off the mat. Lift your right arm up towards the ceiling. And start to do some back strokes with the arm, Really over-exaggerating the movement, massaging underneath the armpits and the lymph nodes, building immunity and strength in your body. Making sure both legs are active, so scissoring the inner thighs in towards each other. Really try to take some weight out of that front hand. Change directions. You can go slow, as fast as you feel good in your body today. And on your next exhale, take your hand down to the mat. And on your next inhale, lift up into your high crescent lunge. So here you can take a nice bend to that back knee to really start to draw your tailbone forward, lifting up out of your waist, draw your shoulders away from your ears, active hands. See if you can drop down even deeper into that front leg, straighten out that back leg, rolling your left hip forward, right hip back. Inhale, lift, and exhale, open up to the right hand side, right hand back, left hand forward, twisting and detoxing the body. Inhale, lift your right arm forward, and exhale, forward fold over that front leg. Step your front foot to meet your back foot. Come into your downward facing dog or move through a vinyasa of your choice. Bending at the elbows into your chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale into your downward facing dog if you're not already there. Inhale, lift your left leg up towards the ceiling. Flex the foot and open up the hip towards the left hand side. Bending the knee towards the right buttocks, or the heel towards the right buttocks. Start to draw circles with the knee in the sky. Changing direction. Massaging into the lymph nodes around the groin area. Opening up that hip joint. And on your next inhale, stretch that leg back, both hip bones pointing down towards the ground. And exhale, rounding the knee towards the nose. Draw your navel in. Inhale, kick back, stretching the leg. And exhale, rounding your upper back, draw your knee to nose. Inhale, stretching the leg back last time. And exhale, knee to nose, hover it for a moment. And exhale, drop the foot down between the hands. Bring that back knee down. Just walk your foot over towards the left hand side. Moving into your runner's lunge, you can stay upright like this. Really actively push your hips down into the ground, and you can really feel this really nice opening in the hip line. Otherwise, you can take it a little bit deeper and come down onto your elbows. Elbows directly below your shoulders. You can roll onto the left sole of the foot, so opening up the left side. You can take your hand to the inside of the knee, holding it there. If you want a bit of a hamstring or thigh stretch, you can grab hold of the back foot with your left hand. You can grab hold of the ankle or on top of the foot and really draw the toes in towards the buttocks. Whatever feels available to you today, and if it's not available, then don't push it. You really want to draw your awareness to your breath. Coming back to the present moment. Feeling out any stiffness in the body, where you might be holding tension from the day. Releasing that back leg if you need to. Coming up onto the, lifting the back leg off the knee off the ground. Swivel that left foot in towards the midline of the mat and just rocking forward and back like we did on the other side. Really massaging into that right ball of the foot, into the calf, stretching out the Achilles. And try to incorporate your breath. Inhale on the way forward, exhale on the way back. Closing your eyes if you need to. And exhale, drop the back knee down to the mat, keeping the back toes curled under, lifting up into your low lunge, taking your arms up towards the ceiling, relaxing your shoulders away from your ears, really actively scissoring the inner thighs towards each other so not really dumping down into the hips, lifting up and active, making sure that front ankle is directly below the knee. Taking your hands together, crossing the opposite thumb on top, releasing the index finger, stretching up out of your waist, and exhale, lifting up and over towards the left-hand side. Filling out this really nice opening all the way from underneath your armpit down towards the psoas, through to your thighs. Inhale back to center and exhale, drop the hands down to frame the front foot, keeping your right hand down on the ground. Lift your back knee off the mat. Lift your left hand up towards the sky into your gentle side twist. And on your exhale, start to backstroke with the hand, massaging into the armpit area, opening up the shoulders. So this class is really focusing a lot on your shoulders where we hold so much tension. And really scissoring your legs together and taking some weight out of that front hand. Change direction if you haven't done so already. Making sure that hand is still active. Taking it as fast or as slow as you need to. Opening up that shoulder blade, rhomboid muscles. And release the hand back down. Keeping your back toes curled under, lift up into your high crescent lunge. So keeping that back knee off the ground, you can bend that back leg a lot just to curl your tailbone under. See if your front ankle is directly below that front knee, bending down. Inhale to lift up out of your waist. And exhale, twist over to the left-hand side, right hand forward, left hand back. Dropping that left hip down. Inhale up, back to center. And exhale, hands down to the mat. Step back into your plank pose. Moving through your vinyasa or straight to your downward facing dog. Bending your elbows, dropping to your knees if you need to. Flip your feet into your upward facing dog or your cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Stay for 3 deep breaths, closing your eyes if you can. Relax your shoulders away from your ears, relax your jaw. Inhale, lift your right leg up towards the sky. Exhale, knee to nose, round your upper back. Inhale, kick the leg back. And exhale, bring the knee to nose, drop the foot between the hands, keeping that back knee lifted. Inhale, lift up into your high crescent lunge. And exhale, take your hands to your heart space. Really try to draw that right hip back, left hip forward. And exhale, twist into a twisted low lunge. So taking your left elbow to the outside of the right knee. See if you can lean your upper back like you're leaning against a wall behind you. Strengthen through the back leg, so back heel off the ground. Really actively twisting through the middle of your thoracic area. Stay for one more inhale. And exhale, take your hands down to the front of your mat. Step your back foot closer towards the midline of your mat. And making sure that back foot is at a 45-degree angle, so your heel in, toes slightly out. Inhale, lift up into your halfway lift, and exhale, forward fold over that front leg into your pyramid pose. So your hands can be on your shin if you'd like to keep your back elongated here, just protecting your lower back. Or you can take your hands down, really making sure your core is nice and activated. On your next inhale, place your hands down on the front of the mat, take a bend in that front leg, lift your back leg off the ground into your half splits. Your back leg could be at a 90-degree angle, so it doesn't have to really be too high up here. Just giving it some activation, preparation for your handstand pose, really strengthening through that right leg, stabilizing into the foot and the ankle. Inhale, lifting that back leg as high as you can. And on your exhale, bending that back knee and bringing it down to your mat, into your seated spinal twist. So bringing your sit bones down to the mat and just wiggle out your pose here. So making sure your front foot or the right foot is on the outside of the left knee. Take your right hand behind you. Lift your left arm up towards the sky and exhale, twist into your spinal twist. You can keep your hand at a stop sign. You can curl the hand underneath and do a half bind. Lean the upper back slightly behind you, like you're leaning against a wall. Take your gaze over your right shoulder. Stay for one more inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, twist deeper. Inhale, take your gaze back to center, and exhale, counter twist to the other side. Inhale, take your hands back to the top of your mat and make your way gracefully into downward facing dog. Just bending one knee, bending the other, taking your time to get into your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up towards the sky, and exhale, knee to nose, round the upper back. And inhale, stretch and lift that leg back, and exhale, knee to nose, hover it for as long as you can, really drawing the navel in, and drop the front foot between the hands, keeping the back knee lifted. Inhale into your high crescent lunge. Staying here. See if you can straighten out that back leg if you can. Draw your tailbone down, relax your shoulders away from your ears. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart space, into your prayer position. Inhale, lean the upper body slightly forward, and exhale, twist over to the left-hand side, taking your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Take your gaze towards the left-hand side. You really want the twist where your belly button is, so keeping your collarbones broad, twisting out the spine, creating strength in the legs, rolling that right hip down. Inhale to lengthen and exhale, twist a little bit deeper. And on your next inhale, take your gaze forward. Take your hands down to frame the front foot. Step your back foot slightly closer to the midline of your mat. Take your toes out, your heels in, moving into your pyramid pose. First, set up your alignment by lengthening your crown slightly forward, lifting your chin, broadening your collarbones, lengthening your spine, creating space. And exhale, forward fold over that front leg. You can keep the slight bend to the front leg if you need to. Actively rolling that right hip back, your right hip forward, your left hip back. Stay for 2 more breaths. Making sure that heel of the back foot is firmly rooted into the mat. Your toes are not clawing onto your mat. There's no tension in the body. On your next inhale, place your hands slightly forward of the front foot. Lift your back leg towards the sky into your half splits. Making sure there's a 90-degree angle. Lifting that back leg as high as possible for you today. Lowering the head down towards the mat, seeing if it can get your forehead to meet your shin. Stay for 1 more inhale, see if you can lift that back leg even higher. And exhale, move to your seated twist, bending that right leg, coming onto your sit bones, making sure both sit bones are firmly rooted into the ground. You can move the fleshy part away from your buttocks. Bringing that left foot to the outside of your right knee. And start to take your left hand behind the sacrum. Inhale, lift your right arm up towards the sky, and exhale, twist, taking your elbow to the outside of the left knee. Broadening your collarbones. See if you can lift up out of your waist and lengthen on the inhale, and twist even deeper on the exhale, taking your gaze over your left shoulder. And on your next inhale, take your gaze back towards the front of the mat. Take your hands over into your counter twist. And on your next inhale, come back to center, taking your hands to the front of your mat. Swing your legs back into your downward facing dog. Stay here for 2 breaths, and when you're ready, make your way to a seated position at the top of your mat. Bring your soles of the feet to the mat, knees up towards the ceiling. Take your hands out towards the sides, palms facing in towards one another. Start to curl your tailbone under And now activating your core, really drawing your belly button in towards your spine. Start to roll consciously down towards your mat, taking your time. And when you're ready, exhale and roll back down. Take your arms out, shoulder height. Take your knees up at a 90-degree angle, making sure there is a flex in the feet, so feet are nice and active. Keeping your knees together if you can, making sure your shoulder blades stay firmly rooted into the mat. And on your next exhale, take your knees over towards the right-hand side, making sure you keep that 90-degree angle, just hovering the knees off the mat. And on your next inhale, back to center, and exhale, rotating over to the other side. Shoulder blades on the mat. Inhale back to center. Exhale over to the other side. Rinsing, detoxing, while still activating your core, really drawing your navel in towards the spine. Inhale on the way back up. Start to really try to incorporate your breath into your movement. Inhale, knees back up to center. Exhale over to the other side. Closing your eyes if you can. Feeling out into the pose. And do 2 more to each side. Active feet. And when you're ready, bringing your knees back into your chest. Hugging your knees into your chest, just giving yourself a squeeze for a moment. And coming into your happy baby, taking the soles of the feet towards the ceiling. Draw your knees in towards your shoulders. Kicking your hands, your feet into your hands. Drawing your tailbone down. Opening up the hips. You can roll from side to side, massaging the muscles along the spine. Closing your eyes if you can. And when you're ready, release into your Shavasana, taking your legs out. Equal distance from your midline. Take your hands out towards the side. Take up loads of space. And if your lower spine is lifting off the mat, then just take 2 cushions and place them underneath your knees. And really try to draw your shoulders away from your ears and completely come into stillness. Really relax every part of your body, right to the fingertips and to the toes. And closing your eyes if you haven't done so already. Feel the weight of your body into the mat. Feel out the tingling sensation of this practice. Just using this pose to draw your awareness to complete stillness. And when thoughts come through your mind, just completely soften and release and draw your awareness back to your breath. If you can, stay in your Shavasana pose for as long as you like. Otherwise, start to rub the thumb over all of the fingerprints. And start to wriggle your toes. Taking your arms above your head, stretching out the body. And when you're ready, roll over onto one side, taking your time, coming out of your Shavasana pose. Coming into a seated position, taking your hands to your heart space, thumbs to your sternum. Thank you for practicing with me tonight. And I wish you all a beautiful evening ahead. Namaste.